In a world where fate can change in a single moment, a struggling young woman named Tieu Hue finds her life transformed by an unexpected act of kindness from CEO Tuan. Once left with nothing, she is rescued, given land and a home to rebuild her broken life. Though deeply grateful, she keeps her distance as Tuan repeatedly invites her to his house, a place she has never seen before. Over time, trust slowly replaces hesitation, and their relationship quietly deepens beyond gratitude. When she finally accepts his invitation, it becomes the turning point that opens the door to a new emotional journey between them. It was on a day when everything seemed to have fallen apart for Tieu Hue that CEO Tuan appeared in her life like an unexpected light breaking through a storm. She had lost almost everything that once gave her a sense of stability: her home, her support system, and even her hope for tomorrow. The world around her felt cold and indifferent, as if no one would stop to notice her pain. In that darkest moment, when she had nowhere else to turn, Tuan was the one who reached out his hand and changed the direction of her life forever. He did not meet her with hesitation or judgment. Instead, he saw her as someone who deserved a second chance. Without asking for anything in return, he arranged for her immediate safety, making sure she had food, shelter, and peace of mind. But what he did next was something Tieu Hue could never have imagined. Tuan didn't just offer temporary help, he gave her something stable, something real. He transferred to her a small piece of land and helped her build a modest house upon it, a place she could finally call her own. For Tieu Hue, it felt almost unreal at first. She would often stand quietly inside that small house, touching the walls as if trying to convince herself that it was not a dream. After so much loss and uncertainty, having a place where she could sleep without fear or worry felt like a miracle. Every corner of the house carried a quiet promise of a new beginning. And yet, in her heart, she knew that none of this would have been possible without Tuan. CEO Tuan, despite his status and busy life, never treated her kindness as a burden or obligation. He checked on her from time to time, not intrusively, but with genuine concern, like someone who truly cared about another human being's well-being. His actions were never loud or demanding. Instead, they were steady, calm, and deeply sincere. That sincerity slowly built a foundation of trust in Tieu Hue's heart, even as she struggled to understand how someone could be so kind without expecting anything in return. Still, living in the home he had given her also reminded her of the distance between their worlds. He was powerful, respected, and surrounded by people who seemed far more confident than she was. She, on the other hand, was still rebuilding herself piece by piece. Even though gratitude filled her heart, it was mixed with a quiet hesitation, an emotional boundary she did not yet know how to cross. Yet, deep down, she could feel that the moment Tuan stepped into her life, everything had already begun to change in ways she could not fully explain. Although Tieu Hue had finally found a place to live and slowly began to rebuild her life, there was still something inside her that kept her cautious whenever she stood before CEO Tuan. He was the man who had changed her destiny in the most unexpected way. Yet that very fact made her feel both deeply grateful and quietly distant at the same time. Every time he appeared, she was reminded not only of his kindness, but also of the invisible gap between their worlds. He lived in a reality shaped by power, responsibility, and influence, while she was still learning how to stand again on her own feet after losing everything. That difference made her hesitant to step too close, even though her heart had already begun to soften toward him in ways she could not fully understand. Despite this, Tuan never treated her as someone fragile or inferior. He spoke to her with patience, always giving her space, never rushing her emotions. Over time, he began inviting her in a very gentle way, never demanding, never pressuring. "You should come visit my home someday," he would say with a calm smile, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. For him, it was not about formality or status. It was about sharing a part of his life with someone he genuinely cared about. But for Tieu Hue, every invitation carried a weight she struggled to carry. She would lower her gaze, smile politely, and softly decline. "Maybe another time," she would say, though deep inside she wasn't sure when that time would ever come. Her refusals were never out of rejection, but rather out of uncertainty. She was still healing from the past, still learning how to trust the kindness she had been given. There were nights when she would sit alone in the small house Tuan had given her, thinking about him in silence. She wondered why someone like him would go so far for a stranger, why he never asks for repayment, and why he continued to care even when she kept her distance. Those thoughts confused her heart, stirring emotions she was not yet ready to name. At the same time, something subtle was changing between them. Their conversations became longer, more personal. She began to notice small details about him, the calm way he spoke, the way his eyes softened when he looked at her, the quiet strength behind his actions. Tuan, on the other hand, seemed to understand her silence without needing explanations. He never forced her to open up, yet his presence alone made her feel safer than she had felt in a long time. Little by little, the emotional walls around Tieu Hue started to weaken, not because they were pushed down, but because they were slowly softened by consistency, patience, and sincerity. And even though she still kept her distance, there was a quiet shift within her heart, one that told her she was no longer just surviving beside him, but slowly beginning to trust him in a way she had never trusted anyone before. Over time, that quiet shift in Tieu Hue's heart continued to grow until it became something she could no longer ignore. The man she once only saw as an extraordinary benefactor slowly became someone she looked forward to seeing, hearing, and speaking with. And CEO Tuan, patient as ever, never rushed her feelings, yet he never hid his sincerity either. There was a warmth in the way he treated her that made her feel safe in a world she had long believed to be uncertain and cold. Each meeting between them, each short conversation, carried a new layer of meaning, as if something unspoken was gently forming beneath the surface. One afternoon, Tuan once again extended an invitation. His voice was calm, almost casual, yet there was a quiet hope behind it. "Come to my house," he said softly, "just as a guest, no expectations." This time, something felt different in his tone. Not pressure, not insistence, but an openness that made it harder for her to refuse. Tieu Hue stood still for a moment, her thoughts tangled between hesitation and curiosity. She remembered all the times she had declined before, all the moments she had kept her distance. But she also remembered everything he had done for her, the land, the house, the silent support, and the unwavering kindness that never asked for anything in return. This time, instead of stepping back, she slowly nodded. "All right, I will come," she said quietly, almost as if she was speaking more to herself than to him. For a brief moment, Tuan did not respond immediately. A subtle expression of relief and warmth crossed his face, though he quickly composed himself, as if not wanting to overwhelm her decision. "I'm glad," he said gently, his voice carrying a sincerity that made her heart beat a little faster than usual. As the day of the visit approached, Tieu Hue found herself unexpectedly nervous. It was not fear, but a strange mixture of curiosity and emotional vulnerability. She wondered what his home would be like, what kind of life he lived behind the image of a powerful CEO. More importantly, she wondered what it meant for her to finally step into his personal world after keeping so much distance for so long. For the first time, she carefully chose her clothes, looked at her reflection longer than usual, and thought deeply about how she wanted to present herself, not as someone dependent on him, but as someone slowly learning to stand beside him. When she finally arrived, the world she stepped into felt different from anything she had imagined. It was not just a house, it reflected him. Calm, organized, and quietly warm, it carried a sense of stability that made her pause at the entrance. Tuan stood there waiting for her, not as a CEO, but simply as himself. In that moment, something unspoken passed between them, no longer just gratitude and distance, but the beginning of something deeper, more personal and more meaningful. And as Tieu Hue took her first step inside, she realized that this was no longer just a visit. It was the beginning of a new chapter in their story, where hearts, once separated by circumstance, were slowly finding their way toward each other.